Hello, everybody. Right, so let's get started. I'm here to talk to you about text as data and specifically social media text as data. And yes, I'm a lecturer in digital media at the University of Stirling, and I teach on the SIM digital media program as well. Okay. I'm just trying to get my slides to actually move. Right. Okay. So text as data, what does that even mean? So text as data is a framework for machine learning, social science, and also the digital humanities. It's a newer term that sort of describes this approach that is actually used across a number of disciplines. And social media provides us with an exceptionally vast quantity of textual data, so, which we can get unprecedented insights from into fundamental questions in both academic and industry research and practice. So this talk is designed to give you an overview of some of the key approaches to working with social media text and also, their applications, benefits, but also important practical considerations. So core tasks of text as data are generally grouped as representation, discovery, measurement, and causal inference. So I think measurement is probably very clear. Discovery means that you're looking to discover things, to find things out. Representation is often to do with things like summary tasks, summarization tasks, and causal inference about why do things work the way they do. So corpus analysis is the first one that I'm going to start with because it is also the most manual of them, of these approaches, and but it's kind of fundamental to understand what's done in corpus analysis normally, because that tends to be the foundation for a lot of the more automated AI tasks and approaches. So what is corpus analysis? So a corpus is a set of systematically or randomly collected and electronically stored real-life language samples. So that can, for example, be things like tweets, it can be messages, it can be emails. In principle, it can also be spoken language. That's not really relevant to what we're doing here, but it can be any type of language, it can be documents, things like that. And corpora are widely used in researching social media data. And it's basically a linguistic approach to analyzing a corpus, a body of text. So what's the point of corpus analysis? Well, corpus analysis tends to have the goal to discern certain rules of language use, grammatical or lexical patterns, for instance, which are representative of a particular type of genre or a type of text or a type of discourse. So you can basically divide your text corpora into, you can divide them by hashtags, for example, to look at how consumers talk about a particular brand or a campaign or a topic on social media, and how that differs from how they talk about, for example, a competitor or a different campaign or product. That is, corpus analysis is something that is very good at doing comparative study. So what kind of insights can we get from that, and what are the applications? So some of the key things there are word lists, for example, but also word lists are basically just like overall frequency of individual words, absolute frequency. There's keywords. Now, keywords is a really important concept that across different methods actually as well. Those are words that are statistically characteristic of a text or a set of text. Then n-grams are just terms, multi-word expressions, basically, so more than one word, and which again, looking at absolute frequency, just of more than one term. Clusters and collocations are about how words occur in combination with other words, how they are clustered or collocated with other words, and what does that tell us about their significance in a text or in a type of discourse. And basically, corpus analysis is predominantly used in academic research context, but the measures, the above measures there are actually part of a lot of text analysis approaches that are more commonly used in commercial settings. So that is what I'm going to walk you through shortly. But first of all, just a couple of tools in corpus analysis. There's ANCONG, WMatrix, Lanxbox, Wordsmith, CLAN, so computerized language analysis. And the cool thing about corpus tools is that because they focus on academic research, most of them are completely free to use. Some of them are free to use for students anywhere in the world, but a lot of them are actually permanently free to use. So this is very helpful because there's no barrier to trying any of this out. That is a bit different with some of the more commercial tools. So some of the key considerations are that the data needs to be clean and well pre-processed to generate the most accurate findings. So you need to avoid introducing variants that would skew your results. So look at, for example, don't, the word don't with or without an apostrophe. That would really mess up the statistics. So usually there's a significant amount of pre-processing done to weed out such variants and provide you with more accurate counts, because of course that is ultimately what is done in corpus analysis. It counts the instances of certain occurrences. So you also need to be mindful of the implications of how you have assembled your corpus, and to acknowledge any bias that may actually be inherent to your corpus building approach. So for example, when we're talking about keenness, a keyword is a word that makes one text, so differentiates one text from another. Now, keenness is not something that necessarily equals preoccupation. What I mean by that is if you're assembling, for example, a corpus based on search terms, and you're using tweets, which are very, very short because of the limited character length, you then suddenly need to be very aware that if every tweet has your search term in it, then that automatically, that search term will be a keyword, probably the keyword in your corpus. That is because tweets are very short. If you then compare that to how something is discussed on Reddit, and you've assembled a corpus of Reddit posts that are basically based on the same search terms, just by post length difference, you're basically skewing your own results. So again, these are just things to keep in mind, that how you assemble your corpus has an impact on your actual output, of course, and you need to consider that. And you also need to consider the differences between relative frequency and absolute frequency. So relative frequency being, for example, the number of certain occurrences of a word in a million versus like the exact number of words in a particular corpus of any size. So relative frequency is what you can compare between corpora. Absolute frequency just tells you something about the corpus in front of you, which might still be helpful though. So let's move on to the first commercial approach that I'm going to talk about, which is sentiment analysis. It's also often called opinion mining. So sentiment analysis is the use of natural language processing and computational linguistics to systematically identify, extract, or quantify and study the affective states and subjective information in text. Sentiment analysis is widely applied to the voice of the customer materials. So that's things like reviews or survey responses, but also, of course, to social media posts and comments. So at the most basic level, sentiment analysis classifies polarity. So traditionally, is positive versus negative. But there are more advanced tools now that also classify emotional states, things like disgust or anger or sadness, fear, enjoyment or surprise. And what are the insights and applications? So as I started out with saying, it was originally about polarity, sort of positive versus negative sentiment, and that is still used a lot. There's also things like identifying subjectivity and objectivity. You can rank intensity of certain emotions or aspects. And you can also filter out feature or aspect-based sentiments. So for example, if you're looking at reviews for holidays, maybe like a package holiday, it is possible to filter out sentiments associated with travel or with accommodation and these sort of things separately, which is quite important because the overall experience might have been quite mixed. And it's also often used for predictions or to try to predict things. It's been used, for example, to try and predict the outcome of elections. But based on the discourse that takes place on social media. That has been done, with some success by now. Right, a few tools. Now, here I must say that these tools are generally commercial, paid-for tools. I don't endorse any one over another, so I'm just giving you a few names of common tools used in this, which is, for example, Lexalytics, Social Mention, Talkwalker Analytics, Critical Mention, Keyhole, and then there's also language inference and word count. The latter is one that's also used in quite a bit of academic research, so it's a both commercial and academic product. The other ones are very much commercial products, and there are many, many more. So this is a very, very common, it's a very big market. There's a lot of demand for these type of tools, and there's a lot of tools out there. They all do things slightly differently. So that is also something to keep in mind. So the issues with sentiment analysis actually are that it only really works well at a significant scale, because error rates are generally too high for the analysis to be meaningful at the individual message or post or comment level. However, for commercial applications, that tends to work just fine, because when you are looking at large bodies of, for example, social media discourse, a 70% or so accuracy rate is actually enough if you're just gathering a sentiment of whether it's positive or negative, the discourse. But this does become a problem when you apply it to sort of much smaller units, such as individual messages. So that's where it really does kind of then fail. So there are other ways of doing that kind of analysis. But at scale and for those sort of commercial applications, it can be a very insightful tool. So, and then there's the next approach I want to talk to you about, which is topic modeling. So what is that? Now, topic modeling is a type of statistical modeling that uses unsupervised machine learning to identify clusters or groups of similar words within a body of text. And topic modeling is a text mining method that uses semantic structures in a body of text to understand unstructured data without predefined tags or training data. So I'll give you more of an insight what that is and was used for. So topic modeling basically analyzes corpora, documents, or any other bodies of text to identify common themes. Topic modeling finds relationships between terms to understand the hidden structures in a text data set. Now, what kind of insights and applications can we get from that? So, well, first of all, yes, we can just analyze common themes that occur in a body of text. And that's very commonly done. So you see one visualization of this sort of thing here in the background. It can be used, for example, to evaluate customer feedback and to highlight key issues. It can be used to further things like task prioritization. By detecting urgency based on a topic, this is, for example, applied to the context of a corporate context for that is, for example, support tickets or messages to customer service, things like that. But it can also be done on social media to ensure that to highlight the messages that need a response most urgently from the business, for example, because there may be a risk to the reputation, things like that. There's the general aspect of social listening, sort of tracking and evaluating brand and like brand name mentions. And there are also various commercial and academic applications to topic modeling. So again, with topic modeling, these tools are generally commercial tools, so they are paid for, and there's not one that I endorse over others, although the one I've worked with the most is Infranodus, which is also quite affordable compared to some of the others. As for Infranodus, there's also a number of academic applications. And also with Infranodus, that is actually an open source one, meaning if you don't need the no-code solution, you can set this up yourself. The source code is available on GitHub, whereas the other ones are very highly commercial tools and thus more expensive. So as for example, Cassandra, Kantar, Cohere, or Relevance AI. But again, there are quite a lot of these around. However, with topic modeling, if you are into programming yourself, there are many ways of doing this with existing scripts on using R or Python, for example, where this can be done with just a bit of practice and a bit of prior skill, but it's relatively easy to pick up and to use topic modeling functions in existing scripts and packages already there. And that then again would be free. Now, some of the key considerations in topic modeling are, again, sort of the data set and corpus size that you're dealing with. The larger the data set, the more you will get out of topic modeling and the more insights you will get and the more sort of representative they will be. But also, there are different topic modeling algorithms and they can produce vastly different findings. So there's a need to understand the process, even in a no-code tool. So you need to kind of know how the tool does this, and this can usually be looked up yeah, in order to fully understand your outputs. That is one important consideration, because there are various different ways in which topic modeling can be done. There's no time in this lecture to go through them all, but this is definitely something to be aware of. And it is something actually that applies to sentiment analysis as well. There are different ways of doing that, and that ultimately will affect the outcome. So it doesn't necessarily invalidate that different tools will produce different outputs from the same text. That doesn't necessarily mean they're all wrong. But it does generally mean that the algorithm used in a particular tool, has an impact on the output, and it's good to familiarize yourself a bit with that, not even on a super deep level, but just that there are just different things and they will produce different outputs. So now, to summarize this, the key considerations for text as data, in particular working with social media. For all of these approaches, data set and corpus size really matters. And the larger the text sample you've got, the more accurate the findings will be. But another really, really important consideration is the quality of the input data, because that determines the quality of any analysis output. So there is generally a need for adequate pre-processing of text data, because text data can come with all sorts of problematic issues, even just like particularly when you're actually gathering data from social media, you quite often end up with encoding issues, for example, things like apostrophes, which then end up in with weird codes in there instead. These will absolutely mess up your results if you don't fix that in advance. But that can all be fixed with pre-processing scripts quite easily. As a pre-processing can still be automated to a large extent. And the type of pre-processing that's needed will very much depend on what you're trying to do. So the pre-processing requirements and recommendations are dictated by the task objective and by the chosen method of analysis. So, for example, there's this concept of stop words, which are words that are generally considered semantically empty. Now, I put that in quotation marks because semantically empty may well be true for words that are, well, when you look at them individually, but once they're part of a cluster and modify another word, there's usually some meaning to them. So sentiment analysis in particular tends to exclude stop words, or which are also, they also include filler words and things like that, and things like you know, just conjunctions like and that, and things like that, things that don't have any inherent meaning useful to sentiment. But just because it's not useful to sentiment doesn't mean it's not useful to count in other circumstances. So in corpus linguistics, you would not normally be excluding any stop words at all, because in context, when you and you usually do look more at the context in that type of analysis, you would want to keep those, and you would want to keep a record of those to preserve the context. And then finally, as I said just about topic modeling already, it's important to have at least a basic understanding of the process in order to fully understand the outputs of any analysis approach. Yes, so this is it for this talk. Overall, you know, social media really provides us with this absolutely amazingly vast landscape of text data that we can do so much with, and that we can gather so many insights from in a variety of different ways. And learning how these approaches work, whether you want to actually do this yourself and learn how to code the relevant things and the relevant scripts that you need to do this, or whether you want to use no-code solutions and tools, it's really a very worthwhile thing to get into text as data to understand social media data beyond the numbers. So thank you very much, and I'm happily take some questions.
Seeing there's no questions, then thank you for the informative talk and discussion, Dr. Stephanie here.
Thank you.
And we would now like to welcome Mr. Ng to give us an overview of the Bachelor of Arts Honors Digital Media program here in SIM. Mr. Ng, please.
Hi, sorry. So sorry. Thank you for coming today. I believe you are all interested in this digital media and how social media can affect you, or how best to utilize this tool to going forward, to help you to find a job, or be help to do a better business proposal. Okay, so I believe you heard from Dr. Stephanie about the latest trends here, and If you are interested in our program, then I'll go on to share what we have to offer you for our program here at SIM. So at SIM, we offer the Bachelor of Arts in Honours for Digital Media. This is practically quite a new program that we launched about 2 to 3 years back. And to date, we have about 50 plus students for every intake here at SIM. Okay, I'm Sealing. I'm based in SIM here, and I'm a staff member of the university. Okay. Okay, why choose us to do digital media? We are ranked second in Scotland and top 10 in UK for communications and media studies, according to the Complete University Guide 2022. And I just thought early on, with the use of technology nowadays, I think everybody can't avoid media as it is, be it the kids or be it adult or be it teenagers, everybody is hooked onto it, be it for a social form of entertaining or be it for advertising or e-commerce. So I think this is just a part and parcel of our life, and we can't really get rid of it. And why not make use of it for a career or for a business? Okay. And through this program, we hope to develop highly skilled and digital literate individuals who can work effectively or who can pursue a career in this digital media world, okay, be it in the form of advertising, public relations, or market research. Okay, these are some of the modules that we will be teaching on our program. Okay, Dr. Stephanie teaches on the social media marketing part, and other than that, we still have digital creativity, digital and experiential marketing, advertising, and so on and so forth. On top of that, we still have one digital publishing project where a student is supposed to come up with a prototype, ready to be launched live media product to be showcased to the public. Okay. A little bit more about program structure. The program is for 2 years, meaning to say that students come in and complete this bachelor's degree within 2 years. Okay, it's considered a top-up, so we don't really accept A-level students or IB students. We can only accept diploma students. And if they say your diploma is not relevant, then you have to do a prep course before you can join our program. Okay, we only have one intake per year, and the course starts in August. 2 semesters per year, and every semester you do 3 modules per semester. Okay, a little bit different from the poly days or from the A-level days. Here we conduct our modules sequentially rather than the long and thin approach or parallel approach that you guys are used to during your poly or A-level days. So we complete module A, followed by module B, and followed by module C. So if you are not exempt a focus type, then you'll be happy to know that for this program, we don't really have much exams. I don't recall a single exam for this particular program in the past 1 or 2 years. Okay. The lessons will be conducted from 8:30, either from 8:30 to 11:30, or from 12 to 3, or 3:30 to 6:30. So for example, when Dr. Stephanie is in Singapore, she will conduct her lessons from 12 to 6 p.m. So we try to let you guys have the morning to rest and come in the afternoon for the lessons. And till the late evening, then we dismiss you. Okay. And then after the lecturer leaves Singapore, we'll pass the baton over to a local tutor who will help you to explain the details if you can't catch what the lecturer is talking about. Say, for example, Dr. Hills may be talking too fast. Her accent, you may not understand her accent, or the examples that she showcased may be quite UK centric. So the local tutor will take over to help to localize the theories, the examples, and explain to them using local examples so that you have a better understanding of what the lectures is all about. Okay. And on top of that, for students who choose to join our program, you have an option to go over to Sterling for 1 semester exchange. This usually happens on the 3rd semester. So sometimes in late August to early September, you go over to UK, and then you enjoy autumn all the way to winter before you finish the semester in December and you come back to Singapore. Okay, and this is totally optional at no additional cost. You just need to pay for your own accommodations, your own flight, and your own food. Okay, the school fees are still the same, no additional school fees. The program is taught by our colleagues or from my colleagues who I fly them directly from UK to Singapore. And then after that, after they finish the lectures, this should be taken over by a local tutor. So this ensures the same quality education and training as per if you were to fly over to Sterling for this same program. So the degree that you get end of the day is the same in Singapore, even though you have studied 100% in Singapore without flying to Sterling or UK itself to study a single module. Okay, there's no CHOP, like distant learning CHOP that you get. So it's considered as so-called 100% from the UK. Okay. And the delivery wise, it's a combination of lectures, seminars, mostly of this. And if let's say there's a chance, we always bring students out for company visits or site visits to see what the industry is doing. Or sometimes we invite speakers from the industry to share with you what is actually happening out there, so that you guys, before you guys join the workforce, you have a better view of what is really going on in the industry. So for students who are unable to attend the full lectures, you have access to the e-learning platform with recorded videos or the lecture materials. I think this is now fully functional, and most universities have this, and all this is thanks to COVID. Then before that, not much universities will invest a lot into recording the videos to put it online for students to study or to go through it. If, let's say, for example, you're forced, you can't attend the lessons. Okay, admissions requirement, I shared this slightly earlier on. We only take in, for this program, we only take in students who are from the local polytechnics or from SIM or from any other similar institutions like PSB. Okay, I can't take in A-level students or IB students. And students who don't have a media related diploma, you need to take a 3-month prep course in digital media. 2 modules, about 15 hours each is blended learnings, about 15 hours physical in SIM campus and 15 hours online. Okay, the good thing about this prep course is that it's valid for 2 years. So for example, after completing the prep course, you don't really want to join this year, you may have some other work commitment you want to join next year, it's still okay. It's valid for 2 years. So next year when you apply the same program again, you do not need to take the prep course. Okay, any other diplomas will be considered on a case-by-case basis. Okay, especially some other diplomas that is not on our radar screen. So diplomas that is maybe a 1-year duration or half-year duration. So all this will be considered by a case-by-case basis. And for international students who did not complete their diplomas in Singapore, you need to have a minimum C6 for O levels, IELTS passes of 6, and TOEFL 567. Sorry, or TOEFL 567. Any one of these will do. Okay. Now the prep course is for 3 months. I touched on this earlier on, and the 2 modules that you'll be taking is Introduction to Creative Industries, Introduction to Critical Digital Media Studies. So we hope that for students who do not have any background in digital media or social media, these 2 modules will provide you some foundation before you join the main program. Now, it's unwise for me to just parachute it into a program that that consists of students who have already completed 3 years of diploma training in media courses, in mass comms. You will not be able to cope with them. So it is wise only that you take 2 modules, complete them, and understand what is going on for this particular program before you join the main program with the main bulk of the students. Okay, the lectures and tutorials are conducted by local tutors, and yeah, the prep course is delivered via blended learning, and the modules are assessed either by coursework or exams. Okay. Okay, this is the price you need to pay for the prep modules. So about 1,400 for these 2 prep modules. Okay, usually for students who don't do any media related diploma, you need to take both modules. Okay, you can't be exempted for one. Unlike other programs, you could take one, but for this particular program, you need to take 2. Okay. The course fee for this 2-year program is about $41,000 for local students and about $43,000 for international students. And on top of that, I think you need to apply. You need to have an application fee of about $200. Yeah, sorry, student development fee of $250, and for international students about $430. Okay, if you are interested to apply to our program, and you did not do a media diplomas during your earlier days, okay, you need to apply to us before 3rd of April. Okay, alternatively, you can email to us your transcripts. I will advise you accordingly whether you need to do a prep course or not. Okay, and the classes for the prep course will start on the 22nd May. You will do 2 modules and you complete everything by early August. You'll know the results in early August, and then after that you'll join the main program on the 21st of August. So for students who have done a media program, say for example mass comms from Ngee Polytechnic, you do not do a prep course, then you will start your application closing date will be on the 5th of May, and same thing, the main program will start on the 21st of August. Okay.